Have you ever looked at your life and realized you're living someone else's dream? At 30, I had the perfect job, perfect apartment, perfect relationship. At least, that's what everyone else called it. Today, at 33, I live in a different country, run my own business, and I'm happier than I've ever been. But the real story isn't about what I gained. It's about what I had to lose to find myself. Let me take you back to my perfect life. I was a marketing director at a Fortune 500 company. 6-figure salary, corner office, team of 20 people. My girlfriend and I had just bought a house in the suburbs. Everything looked amazing on Instagram. But every morning I'd sit in my car for an extra 5 minutes before walking into the office, trying to convince myself that this was what success looked like. Every weekend, I'd scroll through travel photos on social media, dreaming about a different life. Then came my 30th birthday. My girlfriend threw this huge party. All our friends, family, colleagues. Everyone kept saying how lucky I was, how I had it all figured out. But that night, after everyone left, I stood in our perfectly decorated living room and had a complete breakdown. The truth hit me like a truck. I wasn't happy. I hadn't been happy for years. I was living a life that looked good on paper but felt empty inside. The house, the job, the relationship, they were all choices I'd made to meet other people's expectations. The next morning, I made a list of everything I actually wanted, not what I thought I should want. Travel, creative work, freedom to make my own schedule, real connections with people. Everything on that list was the opposite of my current life. For 2 months, I kept that list hidden in my desk drawer. But it was like a ticking time bomb. Every time I opened that drawer, it reminded me that I was choosing security over happiness. Then something happened that forced my hand. My company announced a major promotion. They wanted me to become vice president of marketing. It came with a 50% raise, stock options, everything I'd been working towards. It should have been the happiest day of my career. Instead, I had a panic attack in the bathroom. The thought of committing even deeper to this life terrified me more than starting over. That's when I knew. It was now or never. I spent the next month planning my exit, sold my share of the house back to my girlfriend, liquidated my investments, applied for a working holiday visa in New Zealand. Everyone thought I was having a midlife crisis. My parents were devastated. "You're throwing away everything you've worked for," they said. Friends called me crazy. My boss offered me more money to stay. But for the first time in my life, I was crystal clear about what I needed to do. The hardest part wasn't leaving my job or selling my things. It was disappointing people who had invested in my success. My girlfriend cried when I told her I was leaving. "We had plans," she said, "but I realized staying in a relationship just because you've been in it for years is like keeping money in a bad investment just because you've already invested so much." 3 months later, I landed in Auckland with 2 suitcases and a laptop. No plans, no connections, just a determination to build a life that felt true to me. The first month was terrifying. I went from managing 20 people to working as a barista just to meet locals, from a luxury apartment to a shared house with 5 roommates, from business meetings to surfing lessons. But here's what nobody tells you about starting over at 30. You're not really starting from scratch. You're starting with experience, with clarity, with purpose. I used my marketing skills to help local businesses with their social media. Word spread. 6 months later, I had enough clients to start my own digital Nomad agency. Now we help small businesses around the world tell their stories. Today my office is sometimes a beach in Bali, sometimes a cafe in Barcelona. I make less money than I did in my corporate job, but I'm rich in ways I never was before. Rich in experiences, in genuine relationships, in peace of mind. You know what's funny? Those same people who called me crazy now message me asking how I did it. They see my life and say I'm lucky. But luck had nothing to do with it. It took courage to admit I was on the wrong path, and even more courage to walk away. If you're 30 or 40 or 50 and feeling stuck in a life that looks perfect on paper but feels empty inside, remember this: it's never too late to start over. The biggest risk isn't changing your life. It's staying in a life that's too small for who you could become. This channel, Beyond Stories, is about people who chose authenticity over expectation. If you want to hear more stories like this, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment if you're thinking about starting over. Sometimes naming that desire is the first step to making it real. See you in the next video.